It's time for a brand new character, and this time I went with another Jimmy Neutron rep with Sheen for y'all character requests, and a little bit of a different character and who could be sort of a meme character and just so much fun to play with. And I wanted to make his moveset super fun and make it make sense to reference the show. And I'm just going to talk a little bit about his backstory first, and we'll just start getting into the ideas of how I think he could play for this game. And I'll just say this: Sheen is not really a very popular character when it comes to the different other characters like Carl and Jimmy Neutron, but he has his own personality. He has his own little interests. And speaking of interests, he talks a lot about Ultra Lord, and I wanted to implement Ultra Lord as part of his moveset. Now, Ultra Lord could probably easily be a character himself, a character within itself, and be separate from DLC. And I already recently talked about Ultra Lord and made a moveset and character ideas for him sometime last year, so I'll have that shared if you guys want to check that out. Jimmy Neutron, Sydney Vortex in the mix, all different types of Jimmy Neutron reps, Professor, Calamitous, and many more that could probably be able to work out for this game, even if they decide to make a sequel, if they or maybe add more into this game. And I think this game can get even more characters, but we're just going to open up the roster. We're going to start talking about all things Sheen throughout this video today, and
select your fighter.
You guys can let me know what you guys think about this character and maybe if he has a good fit. And I think he can just be just as good as Hugh Neutron with his own moves, and something could be in a particular move that's meme worthy for this new character that could possibly be added into the game's roster. But let's start talking about his backstory and share a little bit about him so you guys can be able to get to know this character. And some people haven't even probably watched these shows, or probably don't really remember too much about him, or probably heard of him and seen him before. And that's why I like doing these type of videos and different characters, because it's characters that I either know that are familiar, or just even shows that are introduced, and getting to know these different characters that are part of new shows that I never ever heard of or recently found out about, that are probably modern shows that have recently been a part of Nickelodeon. So let's start talking about Sheen. He's obviously one of Jimmy Neutron's best friends in the Jimmy Neutron franchise. He even has his own show, Planet Sheen. Lots of people don't really like that show. I thought it was decent for what it is. I haven't seen every single episode as for what it is, and having his own show was pretty cool too. But there's other deserving characters. Some people say Carl could have his own little spin-off show and his own little series as well. He's already in and part of Planet Sheen and from his show as well. But I didn't create him and come up with these ideas based off of Planet Sheen. I'm going based off the Jimmy Neutron movie, and just the Jimmy Neutron Boy Genius Movie, and his original self from the episode from the original series. So I didn't really do anything that's related to Planet Sheen, except one little thing that I'll be able to share once I get to it. But he's Jimmy Neutron's best friend, and he, just like I mentioned, he always talks about Ultra Lord and just the things he does. And every class presentation, he always shows off Ultra Lord, and even throughout these other episodes, he's bringing him everywhere he goes. And he collects all the Ultra Lord action figures and quotes them quite often. So I think that can definitely be something that can really be utilized as a feature when if the devs were really try to add Sheen Estevez in this game as DLC to add on to a playable character. So I'm not sure which version we would get for Sheen, if they would probably go for his Planet Sheen design, or maybe his original look, but I put both of them in a particular section, so I'm going to get to that soon. But that's just a little bit of a backstory. In short, he's just always talking about Ultra Lord. He collects them, he brings them everywhere, and sometimes there's different toys and different action figures that he decides to bring for his collection and different adventures or whatever they get into, because every episode there's something new or some brand new adventure with Jimmy, Carl, and Sheen together getting into some kind of trouble or something going on in Retroville. So that's just a little bit of his backstory I just wanted to share, so people can know who he is and what he's about. So he has this obsession with Ultra Lord. So he's a really good character, and just like I said, he can be his own individual hero for this game for DLC. But now we're going to start talking about the stages itself that could be added into the game, and almost similar to what I did with some of the other Jimmy Neutron reps from my other posts. Retroland, Retroville, and the Candy Bar I think would be more ideal for his stage if he was to get in as a new DLC for the devs to add into the game and more. But I couldn't really think of any other stage, and they don't really show, I'll just say this, they don't really showcase Sheen's house, and they don't really go there that often. And I don't think they ever go there, because it's always at Jimmy Neutron's. Everything that's going on at Neutron's house, or in Jimmy's lab, or maybe at the Candy Bar in Retroville and Retroland. Those seem to be the more ideal places for these characters for other additional Jimmy Neutron reps to get in. So just even with this stage for Duck Pie for Hugh Neutron, I'm surprised it wasn't any of these other stages, or maybe his beloved Taco Shack. But that can still be implemented as an ideal stage with the game, but well, with a Sheen DLC. But I think he deserves to have one of those other 3 stages for Retroland, maybe sometime somewhere in Retroville and the Candy Bar. So that'll be awesome to really see. So those are definitely the main stages. But now we're going to start talking about his alternate costumes for this game. I think I'll probably keep it on him since we're talking about all things Jimmy Neutron. Alternate costumes for Sheen, I think it's only fitting. See how he has this duck hat for Hugh Neutron. Sheen can easily have his Ultra Lord mask as a quick little alt for him. And some of these characters already have just hats and different things, like Dirty Dan for Patrick and his drinking hat for SpongeBob, and so on and so forth. You have plenty of other characters with just only a hat. But I think the mask for Sheen would be a better fit for him, for his Ultra Lord mask for an alternate look. And then I added in his Planet Sheen sort of design. So maybe they can do something like that as a new alternate costume with his blue, green, and dark blue jumpsuit with the blue pants, blue boots, and black belt with a silver buckle. So I wanted to get the exact details from this particular costume because I didn't know exactly what his outfit entails. So I put it in detail for an alternate costume to add on to his alternate mask. It doesn't have to be just that mask. He can just have that alternate look for his Planet Sheen design. And if they decide to go with his Planet Sheen design for his original look, his alternate costume, and his alternate look can entail and include the Ultra Lord mask and his Ultra Lord t-shirt that he wears in the original, not even just the movie, but just throughout the Jimmy Neutron TV series outside the movie. But I couldn't come up with any other alternate looks for his costume and things like that. I think that could be something really fitting for him for additional costumes. So every character in this game only has one costume, so maybe they can do more with that for like a future update for something like that, if any. So animations and taunts, and with this particular session, I like to share quotes and some of the things that they can say in the arcade mode, or just when you play as the character, and things that they can say in the game to pay tribute to the show and more. So this is the animations and taunts. And being a huge fan of Ultra Lord himself, I thought, just for starters, Sheen could alternate between the purple and black Ultra Lord, and I think it's a sort of a blue figure of an action figure for this. It was purple, black, and blue. I know it was a blue one, but I think I seen we more than often see the purple action figure get shown off in the TV series in comparison to the black one, because it's different sort of action figures that he collects, and I think it's so rare. It's not very often we see the blue one, so maybe we can add that one into it to reference his collection. Sheen can play with Ultra Lord as the perfect taunt for this game, and just a quick little taunt. He can just play around Ultra Lord. He probably have like a little bit of a voice line with it, but he doesn't really have to say anything with it. And some kind of additional idea that I came up with, when he's rocking his Ultra Lord mask, he'll only be able to do this taunt. Just a little special idea, something different for these characters. You gotta be wearing his alternate taunt for this exclusive taunt, where Sheen can wear his Ultra Lord mask and he can do that little special salute with his taunt, and then he can say, "I accept this responsibility, understanding the consequences you bestowed against me." It seems like that's too long of a quote, but that could be something that can slide into the arcade. But they can cut it short. "I accept this responsibility," something like that, with that little salute that he does when he's given the orders by Jimmy Neutron. So it can represent him as him trying to be a hero, a heroic sort of personality to pay tribute to Ultra Lord and try to be a hero. So his exclusive little salute taunt that he does, where he's wearing the Ultra Lord mask, can be something exclusive for his alternate costume to mix it up. And if you're not wearing that Ultra Lord mask when you play as him, you won't be able to use this exclusive taunt. And just like one of the most known quotes that he does when he's presenting to the class for show and tell in the Jimmy Neutron Boy Genius movie, "This is Ultra Lord." He can say that maybe potentially with his taunts, or maybe some kind of a quick little showcase for his taunt when he's playing, when he's showcasing and showing off his Ultra Lord action figure. I thought this would be something cool and something funny, because it's the perfect meme when people think about Sheen. This is Ultra Lord, because he always keeps showing the same presentation, and he doesn't have anything else to show for show and tell, and trying to just get everyone into Ultra Lord for the action figure, because he's such a fan of it, and they're just part of his collection. And there's some other little quotes. "It's a new Ultra Lord action figure," and he had to catch his breath. It's from When the Pants Attack episode, so that'll be something that would be funny that he can say in the arcade as a little bit of idea. So something like that, or maybe it could also work as a winning animation. But I think it'll be more funnier to see it, more fun, and to see it as an arcade quote that he can say when you go against him in the arcade, or if you're playing as him. And then another one that I added just to wrap up is from the Raise the Oozy Scab episode. He said, "Start singing before I go barracuda on you." It could be something like that he can say just for some additional arcade quotes that he can add for his animations, and just voice lines that I ended up finding out. And I seen When Pants Attack, and just doing the research and watching these clips and episodes, and even the movie itself, they can definitely take a lot from the movie and from the show and tell to really be able to create his moveset and some ideas for Sheen to get into the game. But now, speaking of a moveset, I had so much fun putting this together, and this is always my favorite part, just coming up with the moveset for these characters. What can they do and how can they play? And I think just Ultra Lord played a huge role in helping me trying to create an idea for him. And then the fact that he uses a action figure and always brings it around with him, he can just bring his action figure or action figures to the battlefield. So I wanted to start with this one for a Projectile Attack. I just call it "This is Ultra Lord." For a projectile, Sheen can throw his Ultra Lord action figure full screen across the battlefield. So it ain't just gonna go just for the short distance, it's gonna go all the way across the screen. So you definitely want to watch out for Ultra Lord, so he'll be able to fly across. It's almost like the distance. I was thinking about SpongeBob's bubbles that he blows through. But Hugh Neutron's ducks that he tosses, see how they utilize the ducks from Hugh Neutron? It can work in a similar fashion with Ultra Lord, because I think these ducks go full screen. I don't know if anyone could clarify, but I think they do. I think that'll be something that they can really do with his action figure, and have them, since he throws the little ducks that he has, he can throw the action figures for Ultra Lord. I think that'll be perfect. And just something that, just for his class presentation, when he was talking about Ultra Lord, he can use his nuclear knees. He wobble his knees. I thought this would be a cool little neutral strong attack that can really be funny to see for the memes. Sheen can shake and wobble his knees while moving to knock the enemy back. And he does this during the show and tell presentation that I was referencing just a little bit ago from the movie. And you can see this. And you say, this is Ultra Lord. And he's talking about all his different abilities and stuff like that. Nuclear Knees is part of Ultra Lord's little specials. And why not have Sheen do something like this? This would be some kind of goofy attack, but it would be really strong. His Nuclear Knees would be super powerful and easily one of the most beloved moves by the fans of the show and the movie itself and from the community. Let's get the Nuclear Knees in his moveset and his move pool of his abilities of what he can do into this game for some nice, unique, funny, goofy attacks. So I thought that'll be something that'll be cool to see. And then the next move, it's called a Power Fist. So it's almost like, I almost wanted to call it a hero fist or a heroic fist. But with this Power Fist, Sheen can quickly charge forward with his fist to send the enemy flying. And with this Power Fist, he can just with his role playing with trying to be a superhero, gliding and playing as Ultra Lord, I was thinking of Shredder's move. I forgot what it's called. I almost wanted to bring it up for the moveset move. I could, but I'm sure you guys know what I'm talking about. When you stand still and you're neutral, you could just press his charging attack. He'll quickly just be able to charge towards the enemy. He can do something similar to Shredder's little charge forward with his little charging claw. I don't know the exact move, but I'm sure if you guys played as Shredder, you guys know what I'm talking about. He can do something like that with this Power Fist to be able to charge forward in a heroic fashion. And then just a little bit of a basic combo, a little 3-hit combo. I just call it the Sheenster combo. So Sheen can attack with a series of punches and finish with a heroic pose. So I think that'll be something that I can really realistically see something like that. Not even just with his Power Fist, but a combo like that where he can have that heroic pose each time he hits you with a combo and completes it. Now, one of my favorite episodes, I wanted to reference the video game episode Ultra Sheen, when both it was basically originally in the beginning it was only Jimmy and Sheen that ended up getting trapped into the video game from Jimmy Neutron's invention, where he let them actually be able to be a part of the video game itself. Jimmy Neutron and Sheen were stuck in the Ultra Lord. They got sucked into the Ultra Lord video game to go against RoboFiend. So I thought this would be a unique reference. I think this is one of my favorite moves that I came up with, giving him this special ability of Ultra Sheen to be able to power up. And I'm going to keep it on Shredder because that's another character I was thinking about who has some kind of powered up, chargeable move to make his attack stronger. And I think this Ultra Sheen special ability can really be something that can really be realistic for his moveset. To pay tribute to that episode, and it's one of the best ones. It's one of my favorites when they play in the game. And they get sucked into the world of the video game that they want to play. So Sheen can use this temporarily use his turbocharge to increase the power of all his attacks. And the meter, they can come out with like a little bit of a meter if they want. But I just think that this definitely deserves to be in it. Ultra Sheen, something like that to make him stronger and really go crazy on the enemy. The meter can only build as Sheen receives damage. But see how Shredder can just charge it up for a full amount of time? He'll stay charged up and he'll deal extra damage. His attacks will be stronger just for a limited amount of time. It can work in a similar fashion, but I think his Ultra Sheen ability will probably last a little bit longer. I would love to see that being implemented Ultra Sheen, to pay tribute to that video game episode, I definitely think he would deserve to have this kind of ability, and he was the reason why they ended up taking out Robo Fiend, because he knew Robo Fiend's weakness. Why not use that ability and carry it over into the game for Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl as a new character, or maybe in a new game to have him implemented and added to the roster? So I think Ultra Sheen would definitely work like a charm and definitely easily be one of the best moves and specials, because these characters don't really have that kind of special. Sheen can be one of the first to have that sort of meter feature to be able to be added for his Ultra Sheen special ability. Now, last but not least, I wanted to come up with some kind of recovery move. Ultra Lord to the rescue, I call this one, where Sheen can unlock his Ultra Hero potential and take flight for a limited amount of time to be able to fly into the air. You know, he can use his imagination. He's Ultra Lord. That's who he wants to be. That's who he wants to be like. So why not give him that power to be able to fly like Ultra Lord and to be able to glide? Of course, he wouldn't have the wings from his suit to be able to fly, but he can unlock his inner potential to be able to fly and take flight across the screen, to be able to fly up for a little bit. It makes me think a little bit like Jenny's, because she has one of the best recoveries along with Toph and Hugh Neutron, 3 characters with the best recoveries, and maybe in Michelangelo a little bit, but he has a grappling hook. But characters that can fly, it made me think a little bit of Cat Dog too, because with his, he puts like the little, I don't know what costume it is, like it's a little superhero costume. When he's taking that flight, it could be something similar of how Cat Dog recovers. When he's in the air and he has his arm raised in the air like a hero, it could be something similar to that, but it'll probably last a little bit longer because Sheen's going to be able to fly and hover. So it can be a mix of how Jenny's is or SJ9's with Cat Dog's. I would love to see that. So hopefully they can do something like that. I couldn't think of any other way that he could possibly recover using some kind of grappling hook or anything like that. But I definitely think his inner Ultra Lord potential and his inner heroic abilities and his imagination, he can be able to learn how to fly and be able to get back into the stage for the action and back into the battlefield. But those are all the ideas that I came up with for Sheen for you guys' character requests. For this particular character request for Sheen for Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl, I definitely think he belongs just as much as Jimmy Neutron, and I already did one for Carl Weezer as well. I think they can all get into this game and be unique and shine on their own. But I think Sheen would probably be one of those characters that will probably end up getting left out. But I think that he's a great character for himself, and just using the fact that he loves Ultra Lord and his action figures, it can definitely bring his moveset and his ability to life to be able to shine in this game. But let me know what you guys think. Maybe Sheen has a chance in a sequel, or maybe he's going to probably be in a potential sequel, if anything. Maybe in a new update, he can get into the game with Jimmy Neutron as well. At least I think he can. And just from seeing and just working on this character, I just definitely think he belongs. Even if his show might not be as good as people say, he definitely is a great character that can really be able to have a spot on the roster.